Okay, so I actually want you guys to see this insanity that's taking place right now in Israel and Palestine. Before I start, give me a few seconds to set everything up. Um, but this is crazy. Just look at this. Okay, so I want you guys to see this. This girl is a 3-year-old Palestinian girl, Hur al-Zamil. She was murdered last night alongside her mother in Gaza, Palestine, when Israel bombed their house. This guy right here, he posts so much. This Saxena guy right here, and Shulpix, all the time he's posting such a BS regarding the Muslims, whether it's in India or now even in Israel. Like, dude, your own country is facing so many difficulties. Why would you go and talk about this crap? Like right here, out of 1750 plus rockets fired by Hamas terrorists, it is just 300 rockets misfired exploded in Gaza. This is how Hamas killed its own people, writes Lord, and 3 rockets fired from Lebanon, etc. Okay, what about the many rockets that were fired by Israel? What about them, huh? They fired so many Israels. They demolished, heck, even like a news tower, and along with many other houses. And this is not the first time they've been doing this. They've been doing this for a while. And here, scenes absolute of is Israel mass descends upon street to have an attack in Palestinian cars. This is sad. Imagine trying to drive through this and a bunch of people attacking you. Um, Before we get into the conflict of itself, you guys just need to see what's happening. At least 31 school attendings by 24,000 children have facility in Gaza has been damaged by Israel air raids. How are you going to compare um, what the airstrike and airplanes and tanks versus people that just have rocks and stuff? And even at best, you could say they have rockets. How are you going to compare the two? And here, Israel attacks on Gaza killed 3 Palestinians by taking death toll to 122 by Al Jazeera. And the irony with all of this is, if you look at this picture, it shows the irony of becoming what you hated. Now, a lot of people are probably going to say, like, oh, it's anti-Semitic, each time you speak against Israel or whatever. But is it really? Like, just look at this. The stuff that they do. Hold on, let me focus this a little bit better. It's just the stuff they're doing is no better than what the Germans did, to the sad Jewish population in Europe, which was really sad. And the saddest thing is, it's repeating again the same notion that happened. It's repeating itself again, and it's truly sad. This image I do not want to show. It's going to be some graphic, but it's the sad reality of what's taking place, and YouTube probably going to remove this video because of these graphic stuff. But this is unfortunately what happens when there is war, and it sucks that something like this take place. But look at this. It boils your blood when you see stuff like this, and unfortunately it's been taking place for way too long. And NBCA, yesterday they tweeted surveillance footage. Camera shows an Israeli resident relaxing in front of his TV when a rocket fired from Gaza explodes outside Hinja. What about the bunch of bombs and stuff that are being dropped on Israelis? Like, what about that? This video right here, it got me so angry because if you play it, it's like, hold on. Look at this. In this video, I don't think you guys can hear, but It's like a bunch of people screaming, women and children. Imagine living through that. It's like living through hell. And I'm glad that the Democrats are speaking against this. Powerful speech by Rashida Tlaib. As long as message from Washington is that our military support for Israel is unconditional. Yahoo extremist right-wing government will continue to expand settlements, demolish homes, and make prospects of peace. One thing I don't understand is how are people born in Europe and then you tell them like, hey, this is your land, God gave you this land, and you can have it back, and then you demolish the houses of the people who've been living there for many generations, and these very people could be just descendant of Europeans who just happens to be Jewish in those countries, from Europe, and it's pretty much like colonizing. And this video right here, it's like these soldiers, look what they're doing to these innocent people. Like, remember what happened to George Floyd? Now look at this. This is all of the things that are taking place. This guy, his dad died, and see, I tried to find tweets as much as I could. You know, it truly broke my heart. How can the whole world see this and just remain quiet? It's the same as agreeing with all these things that happened. Like, is there this much hate in the world? This makes my, especially this one. I'm glad they closed the door. In the first video that it showed, Biden could stop this invasion right now, credibly threatening Israel 3.8 billion in the military. A failure to do so is he wouldn't do that. Biden, I mean, the United States, there's a big support for Israel. We give aid to Palestine as well, but I don't know. You could say there is because of national interest, the location that Israel is located in. This video right here, it truly broke my heart. Like, it was so frightening. Look at this. Imagine the children's, watching all of this, what they're probably going through or what they probably be feeling right now. It's truly tragic and sad. And here's another video. It says Israel settlers are burning Palestinian shops, housed inside Palestine, and police protest protecting them. This is messed up. This is a lot. Like, Palestinians, they barely have any business they can't even, or any farm or anything. They barely are surviving there. And now they're destroying their livelihoods too, like a way for them to earn their incomes and stuff. It's really this was the video, which is like, it feels like hell. I haven't seen hell, but if it's anything, it's probably something like this. And right here, this family, this is how people are spending their nights under heavy Israeli bombardments. I just hope, if you even search just Israel, like, okay, I'm trying to present the case from both sides, not just the Palestinians, but also, like, what the Israeli things. For example, right here, a short while ago, viral just in the city of Nablus, our soldiers spotted an assailant with a knife approaching them. The assailant was neutralized. See, we don't know if they're telling the truth or not. Our aircraft just neutralized Islamic Jihadi anti-tank missile operative in Gaza. We stopped another Hamas attempt toward the fire of Israel. Our aircraft, Magellan struck, neutralized. The anti-tank missile launch site and surface of rocket launch site belonging to Hamas. We we tried to tweet sirens sounding in Babisha, but Twitter wouldn't let us. Earlier I read one of the saddest. I think it was a TikTok video. It was about a woman that said that in her house in Palestine they got or somebody they knew, they got a warning, that their house was going to be bombed, so they knew, but their neighbor, they also got warning, but the guy was not home. He was out, and I believe she said that the 8 members of their family member died because he just never got to notify his family because he was away. And he came home to his entire family dead. Now imagine going through that. Anyways, here, like, bunch of tweets. There's only one right answer: Israel will defend. I don't think it's defending itself. It's literally massacring people. And I'm not justifying, like, even innocent Israelis dying in this, because in wars there's honestly no winners. But in this scenario, this is pretty much one-sided. Israel has the Iron Dome, which is pretty much, they shoot down if any rockets or anything shoots toward them, and barely any of them makes it. But Palestinians, they have nothing of the like that. On May 14, 1948, 73 years ago, Israel declared independence and was attacked by 6 foreign armies. We won that battle and will continue to win. Uh, See, it's not even older than my grandfather, the state of Israel. It's really young. Al-Hamas terror squad was about to launch more rockets in Gaza. Um, how do they know if there's any innocent people there or not? But anyways, these are the Israeli side of things. Our jets, aircraft just struck a number of Hamas sites and observations. Iran Iron Dome. The Iron Dome defense just intercepted the Hamas UAV that crossed the Gaza into Israel. These weapons versus rocks. How I don't know how can anyone call this a two-sided battle, because it's clearly not. I know one of the things I've been seeing is that IDF air and ground troops are currently attacking in the Gaza Strip. Attacking what? People with rocks? This is just insane. I don't know how anyone can support this. Unfortunately, he passed away yesterday. Death is something that should never be celebrated. And again, as I said, there is no winners in war. Um, but if you look at the casualty this on the side of the Palestinians, it's much more compared to um, this. Even Palestine right now is trending. Let's see what people are saying. Look at this. Unable to leave their house, Abu Salih's family seeks shelter in their house during Israeli warplanes bombardment in their neighborhood. This is truly sad. May God protect them. Does this not make your blood boil? Does this not make your blood boiled? I just want to say. This is just so sad. Look at this, arresting young children. Again, I'm not showing just one side, I'm showing both sides. There was this interview um, that was being done by BBC, and right behind them, bam. This is just terrible. Here's a better picture, Uh, I wish I could do better. Here we go. Conflict or massacre. So these are some of the facts. Palestine obviously has no army. You could say you got Hamas or whatever, but it's very different. It's like a very different scenario. Israel ground forces are 500,000 personnel, server technology developed in Israel's Markanova main battle tank, Arkansas armored personnel, and you got the Iron Dome missile defense system, Trophy active protection for vehicles, and the Galil and travel assault rifles. And yeah, in Palestine, it has no navy. No navy. Israel has, navy, 20,000 personnel, 64 battleships, and K5 class missile corvettes. Uh, Obviously, Palestine has no air force. Israel Air Force is about 89,000 personnel, 684 aircraft, A4 Seahawk, F4 Phantom, F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and F-35 Lightning. Oh, whoa, I thought F-35 was only with the United States or whatever. I guess they bought it or whatever. GBT per capita is only 878. For a military budget for Palestine is pretty much zero annually, and weapons of mass destruction, including 8 to 400 nuclear warheads. Look how many warheads they have. They could literally flatten a bunch of the countries. See, a lot of the countries that are probably around Israel, they don't probably want to fight them because of how many um, weapons of mass destructions of Israel has. Iraq literally got destroyed because they had weapons of mass destruction. But if you look at Israel, they really have weapons of mass destructions with them all over. 43% of the population of Palestine is age 0 to 14. Medium age entire population 17.4. And GDP. This is insane. So it means majority of the male from ages 18 to 50 probably already died because is they pose most of the threat. I guess you could say. Military budget is 20.5 billion annual plus 146 billion U.S. military aid to Israel to date. Oh wow, 146 billion U.S. military aid. So you can see where their support is coming from. Um, GDP per capita is 42,800. You can't even compare these numbers at all. Look at the huge gap between the two of them. The gap is just humongous. It's ridiculous. Water supply is entirely controlled by Israel, so it means they can shut it off whenever they want. Energy supply entirely controlled by Israel. Entire population is stateless. No residents able to leave. World's densest population labeled unlivable place by the United Nations. Israeli citizen entitled to visa-free or visa under arrival access to 161 countries and territories. That's ridiculous. 62% of the population age 15 to 64, median age is 30. If you compare that according to this data, I don't know how accurate it is, but if you compare it to the Palestinians, it's 17. So it means they don't live. It's just ridiculous. I can't even comprehend this. 62% of the population, again, as I said, is 15 to 64. Universal healthcare ranked third best in the world, world's leader in COVID vaccination coverage. Anonymous weapon system stations around Gaza Strip prohibiting Gaza residents from leaving. Um, you know, Sometimes I feel like this corona is really from God because of all the injustice that's taking place around the world, whether it's in Palestine or anywhere, for a matter of fact, that's taking place. How they're locked down in Kashmir or even here in Palestine. He literally made the entire world into lockdown. Yesterday was Eid. Eid was it's where people are the Muslims celebrate after the whole month of fasting in Ramadan, and unfortunately the people of Palestine, they weren't able to celebrate it in a way they should have been celebrating. Okay, let's keep going. So the Gaza now, they tweeted, "We are very happy that our brothers in Malaysia show solidarity with us in this way. You're standing next to us in a great victory, revealing the truth and the crimes of us, serving occupiers in Palestine. We salute you from Gaza." Malaysia is a great country. Here, this text from Israel, and if you look at it, the poor guy is. I don't want to zoom in on the picture because it just makes me more sad. But he's smiling. Look how many children. I have a young child of my own, and I can't bear something like this. Short memories: European Jews arrived in Palestine 1947 seeking refuge. Israeli genocide today. I don't know if many people know this, but I don't recall it 100% correctly. So you guys can call me out on this if I'm wrong. Correct me. But when the British were doing something, the Israelis at that time, the terrorists, they bombed one of the facility of British. When they were trying to find a ways to make the things work between Palestine and Israel or something like that. I have to do my research on that again. They were the first one that started stuff like this. I this is just. I'm sorry, but I can't even look at these videos. So there's they're around Israel, like Jordan and Lebanon. It probably has a lot of Palestinians there too, and it's just sad that they can't do much there. What is it? This, like I said again, it's literally just people and tanks. Um, it's just tragic. Tragic. I can't even begin to fathom any of this. We'll die for far. You know, I guess this is some protest taking place in Palestine as we speak. A grandfather saying farewell to his grandchildren. This is probably the most heartbreaking thing ever for anyone to do. Imagine, you live to their age and the next generation leaves before you. It's just truly heartbreaking. Wow. Again, my goal with this is not to bring hate toward anyone. It's just to educate people about what's really taking place in Palestine. Avenger star Mark Ruffalo has called for sanctions on Israel for brutality against Palestinians. Thank you, Mark Buffalo. I don't think the United States or anyone's going to do anything. Even the United Nations, throughout so many years, they barely did anything. This is just sad. Here's a coin from 1939 of Israel, literally older than the state of Israel itself. What this is sad. You guys gotta remember again in that data that I showed you guys earlier, the median age of Palestinian is literally 17. Messed up. What are your thoughts on all of this? I'm glad they're helping them in some way. Unable to leave their house, Suleiman Abu family seeks shelter in the house of their. Yeah, we just saw that video. There were protests, I believe, in Chicago and New York. They even planned here in Florida a protest, for Palestinians. Oh man, I can't even see these images because they're just so heartbreaking. How can anyone do this? More than 100K university invest in foreign companies complicit in Israeli violation of international law, including military weapons. I mean, the military industry is just so huge. Um, it's it's money. It's all about money. In all honesty, all these wars, whether it's Middle East or all over, the military industry makes so much money off this. They could sell weapons to both side honestly and remain neutral and just make money off it, the pain and the lives at the expense of other people. If you guys look at this video, it's truly heartbreaking. See, while we sleep nicely soundly in our houses, this is what these poor people has to go through. um, how is the entire world allowing this to take place? Like, I just don't understand. Look at this. This is a poor guy house. Imagine he was in his house. He would have been probably a victim, one of the victims of the bombards that's taking place in Palestine. This other images of children's facing all these different type of cruelty. Military wing at Al Fatah after mobilizing fighters in Jenin to defend the area from Israel attacks. So I don't know where exactly. I just hope they don't do anything to the Mosque Al Aqsa. Here's a little boy who got burnt again. He's all over. U.S. sending new aid to Palestinians as conflict intensify. So U.S. This is some good news. The Palestinians, they can use all the aids that the United States or anyone can send them. Oh, see things like this. I can just not bear to watch this. May Allah protect them. Protect them. I don't even want to see that guy anymore. He's gone. I remember I showed you guys this data earlier, like how Palestine has no army, no navy, no air force, nothing, while Israel has all of this. And you guys got to remember how much aid Israel gets from the United States and other stuff, and them selling their own weapons to other countries. And they have nuclear, so I can see why a lot of the countries around them are probably hesitant to do anything. So right here, I guess you can see some Israelis, shooting, firing bullets at Palestinians. This is sad. According to the whole world, this is to defend him. Even their soldiers don't look that old. What are they trying to do? Break into somebody's house? This is not self-defending. This is messed up. Shame on you guys. With that many weapons and that many people going after a single family and harassing them. Are you serious? So I guess here you see Israelis arresting children and women. This is not going to end good for either of the side. So this is Jerusalem. This is insane. Wow. What the fudge did I just watch? This little girl is frightened. Look, just playing and boom. If you guys didn't hear it. This is insane. And again, this is the stats from earlier, how one side doesn't have military or anything at all, while Israel has so much. This is like a straight scene from hell. Anyways, guys, see, even the graves of Arabs in the city of Lod are not safe. So my conclusion to all of this, I don't care how it started, where it started, where it started. The battle is not the same. The two sides do not have the same type of weapons. They just don't. And that's the sad reality of it. They don't have the same type of equipment. One has everything, the other one doesn't have anything. How can even people compare the two? One is completely getting, I showed you guys pretty much both sides. I took you guys to the IDF website, Twitter account, and now let's hear what's going on in Palestine. um, what can be the solution to this? I ask all of you, what can be done regarding this without the loss of lives on either side? Because in all reality, I want peace on both sides. But right now, it's a utter annihilation of one side, the Palestinians. They're getting destroyed. They have no way to defend themselves except rocks and a few rockets or whatever. Israel has tanks, nukes, Air Force, Navy, name it. All the type of weapons that they have right now. The world need to intervene and give these people, protect these people of Palestine. They have faced all these different type of oppression since 1947. I think it's time to end for all of that. Don't you guys think? I think enough is enough. It's insane. May God, may Allah, may He bring peace to the people of Palestine. Because this, truly, all of this breaks my heart. If the whole world get together and put sanctions and stuff on Israel, hurt them where it hurts, they will stop this, whatever they're doing to the oppressing all these poor Palestinians. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, as always. And for more informative videos, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys maybe in another live stream sometime soon. Till then, take care of yourselves. I don't even know, with the graphic images that I showed, if YouTube is even going to allow this video to stay on. But I hope this educated you guys a little bit. So Israel is saying they're defending themselves, and Palestinians, they are defending themselves with rocks. And while there is a toll on Israeli sides, the heavy loss is on the Palestinian sides, is always because they have no way of defending themselves. Right now is the time for the UN, United States, or any country for that matter of fact around the world to intervene and stop this massacre of the Palestinian people. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. Till then, take care of yourselves.